Hello, friends. Robert Bevan here, author of the Caverns Creatures series of comedy fantasy novels and short stories. With me is Sam West, and today we're talking about the spell Disguise Self.
Aha! I put my hood up, but it doesn't really fit over my headphones. But
Yeah,
you're hiding.
yeah, I get it.
Yeah, obscuring your person, making yourself look different. That's the whole shtick. This is a lovely little first level illusion spell. Sorry, cast time of an action, duration 1 hour, no concentration on that. That's kind of cool. Range of
Yeah.
self. You make yourself, including your clothing, armor, weapons, and other belongings on your person, look different till the spell ends or until you use your action to dismiss it. You can seem 1 foot shorter or taller and can appear thin, fat, or in between. You can't change your body type, so you must adopt a form that has the same basic arrangement of limbs. Otherwise, the extent of the illusion is up to you. The changes wrought by this spell fail to hold up to physical inspection. For example, if you use the spell to add a hat to your outfit, objects pass through the hat. Anyone who touches it would feel nothing, and it would feel your head and hair, assuming you have it, like I do. If you use the spell to appear thinner than if you spell to appear thinner than you are, the hand of someone reaches out to touch you would bump into you. This really just goes on way longer than it needs to. To discern you are disguised, a creature can use its action to inspect your appearance and must succeed on an intelligence investigation check against your spell save DC. They assumedly know that it's an illusion and can see through it. This is a neat little first level spell.
Slow down. So, when do they get to make this save? If they interact with you physically?
So, if they interact with you physically, they automatically understand that you are disguised.
Right.
If they opt to say something is funky with this individual, they can make an investigation check. And if they make an investigation check that beats your spell save DC, they discern that you're wearing illusory clothing. Like they notice flaws in it or interfacing in the world in some way that doesn't quite hold up. Which is, you can start there. This is the capital reason that illusion spells, I think, vary so widely table to table. It's the quantity of DM inspection. So if I, as a DM, I tend to revel in my players doing dumb shit. I love it. I think whenever my players have the stupidest plans is when they're having the most fun, so I tend to roll with it, which means I tend to let my NPCs look and play a little bit dumber than I would play if I were going for super intensive, if they were acknowledging this world is full of illusions, right? So my NPCs will rarely make these kinds of investigation checks. There has to be overt evidence that illusions are happening for them to start checking things out to see if they're real or not. Now, your DM may vary. You might have a DM that does recognize, hey, my NPCs live in a world where illusion's commonplace. All my merchants make active investigation checks all the time to make sure what they're dealing with is real, make sure the people they're dealing with are real. So yeah, that's the first little hiccup that you want to think about when using illusion magic, especially something like Disguise Self, is how much is my DM doing this? How often am I going to be expecting investigation checks flying around?
Well, this being a first level spell, this is perhaps a good time to get that feel for how your DM does things.
It's also this being a bard sorcerer.
I'm hoping your DM has a good balance, at least. It's one thing, to go whole hog like you were suggesting, but it's an entirely different thing to just make this useless because everybody's doing investigation checks all the time.
And it's not that it'll be useless. It'll just be that you'll have a hard time making this work in long durations, right? So even if you are at a table that is doing hyper investigation kind of things, right, where every single NPC is inspecting you, if you're only going to need it for, the 18 seconds to get through the front gate, that might still be fine. You might still be able to be like, all right, I got a DC 16. Things are probably going to fail this. Let's get right on through, see what happens. But it's going to make the longer impersonation kind of schemes. That's where it really starts to be like, oh, this tool doesn't really perform that well anymore because it only requires one successful investigation check against us for this all to kind of fall apart. So, I will agree that it isn't necessarily great to play at groups where it is super investigative, but it still can perform some functions.
I mean, if you've got a good balance, though, between player using this and DM, checking against it, I think there's a lot of fun to be had with, different challenges that arise, working your way through a crowded ballroom or something where, you're trying to avoid, bumping into people, but you're also trying to look like you're not trying to avoid that.
My favorite element of this spell is how it changes what a character would physically do, right? I'm envisioning this in a movie, not necessarily at a role-playing game table where we, make a lot of allowances and sort of create spaces that are different from each other. So, whenever I'm thinking of my character with a disguised self, they're avoiding, waiters. They're doing everything in their power to be as far away from chairs as possible because anything with sharp edges, anything with just, edges at all, immediately provides issues for when you're passing them, right? You don't want to brush near anything because parts of you are going to face through it, and that's an issue. I love that little gameplay gimmick. I love the idea of having to make my character like deliberately talk through how they navigate this space, trying to play it off cool, but definitely, not going to interface with a lot of the elements of the game. You're gonna have other groups, right? Other people that are just gonna be like, oh, I'm playing darts. I'm at the bar. I'm doing my regular thing, just disguised as somebody else. And everyone in the group, including that player, are gonna be completely ignoring the illusory stuff that's going through tables, all the mundanity of it. And your mileage is gonna vary. I think both takes are very fun. It's just, depends on what the group's up for, depends on what you're up for.
Yeah, I wrote a scene in one of my books lately using this exact thing, like where the skinny guy disguised himself as a really fat guy, but he had to get through this narrow gap, and so he had to like distract the person he was talking to. Oh, look over there, sort of thing, and to just like hurry through it before he got back. And the guy turned around. There's obvious what's going on here, but is he going to insult him and bring up, how did you get through that, you fat bastard? No.
Yeah, that's pretty good. That's pretty good.
Good times. Yeah.
Oh yeah, and like, I honestly think that's where a lot of the fun to be had with the spell is in the role play, is in the ludicrous disguises that you might come up with for yourself. There's a good amount of fun to be had of just like making ridiculous attire, making ridiculous outfits, playing as characters that are like wildly on either ends of spectrums is you can have a blast with it. Now, is it that practical? Yeah. As the first level spell, it does its job well enough. It's fine at impersonating, I guess. I think this very quickly gets outclassed by a lot of other effects. I think a lot of enchantment magic does what this wants to do. I think a lot of illusion magic, specifically invisibility, basically usurp the need for this at third level plus, because almost every character under the sun gets access to invisibility. So like, I have a hard time keeping this around on my sheet. If it were an at-will ability, I think it'd be really, really powerful. So first level spell kind of makes sense. I don't know. I think it's pretty cool. I wish I could use it more.
This is Mask of Many Faces is this at will, isn't it?
Yes.
Okay, so that's cool.
It is cool.
So the primary uses, you've got impersonate someone else, and
hiding yourself is a really
hiding yourself.
Like, oh, they know I stole from them. I don't look like me anymore, so it's no longer a problem.
Or, you look like somebody else and steal. All right, we've covered this before,
yes.
I feel.
That one we definitely covered before. Is, that wasn't me.
Job.
Everyone saw a troll steal all of the things from this shop. I'm not a troll, obviously. I'm a foot shorter. I also, so this gives me a small amount of world building that I adore, which is if you have like a police station lineup, the only thing they really care about is, are you within a foot of the height of the thief? Because disguise spells or disguise self exists. So they have to be like, okay, who is within a foot of this person's height, and were they close to the scene of the crime?
Really within 2 feet, because the criminal might have been casting disguise self, and you could currently be casting disguise self. Sure. So they appear a foot taller, and you're appearing a foot shorter.
I love the idea of like a Goliath disguise selfing them, or like a human disguise selfing to be like a dwarf size, and then disguise selfing as a Goliath to try and get out of, oh, I'm 6'3" or I'm 7'3". There's no way I could have stolen this. The 5-foot guy stole it, and they're like, we did the measurements. You're still a suspect, buddy.
Yeah,
that's cute. I like that a lot.
What?
No, go for it.
No, I was gonna say the obvious comparison is to Alter Self.
Yeah, which is hot trash compared to this. So it does almost the same thing, but is a full spell level higher.
Almost, but I mean, it's one spell level higher, but it does get around the tactile issue, which
while also doing less, right? It doesn't disguise your equipment or anything.
Right. So you'll have to plan for that, but if you are trying to navigate through a crowded ballroom, or you want to sit in a chair,
that would be acceptable.
Get some clothes.
At that point, I would think a mundane disguise is about as effective, right? I think a part of the fun of disguise self is the appearance change makes you look like nobility or entirely impoverished. However you want to fit on this, like the spectrum, right? Like your class, like not like character class, but social class literally changes as will with the spell. And Alter Self, you still need to have all the stuff on you.
Yeah, you need a costume.
It's great.
But I mean, if you need to impersonate somebody specifically, that's an alternative.
That's true. If you're specifically going for infiltration, like I need to be the mayor here, I can make my face look like the mayor, and I will steal his clothes, and then we'll hide him in a box somewhere, and then I will impersonate the mayor in that fashion. Sure, that could be cute.
I will clean this city's water.
And this isn't the exact instance where you know you don't want to deal with the illusory nonsense being a potential issue. So that's like a small up case for using alter self over disguise self. I still think like 95% of the job is done by disguise self, though. Like you could probably get that done with the first level option way better, which is good. It's points into the spell's favor.
All right. Yeah. Well, that's disguise self. What do you think?
I think it's entirely fun, fine, fair illusion spell for first level. It's not going to reshape the game or anything like that. And again, I think it gets outclassed pretty quickly by just other tools that are going to perform jobs better as far as making yourself disappear, making others disappear, making it so you can get in and out of places a lot easier. Like Misty Step's going to do a lot of what this is trying to do, because you just be like, oh, we don't even have to pass the guards. I'm just in. A lot of these kinds of things, a lot of the basic situations where disguise self would show up for a short cast are kind of like lessened by the existence of other spells. Still, if you like this kind of effect, if you want to play the character that looks however you want, whenever you want, is really cheap. A first level spell is a pretty fair rate. I think Trigger Domain Clerics love it. I think Illusionists, why not? And on Warlocks that take Mask of Many Faces, you'll have a blast. So I'm still a 3 out of 5, entirely reasonable spell.
See, I was thinking the other direction. Like it's a lot of other spells can do what this does, or can have the same kind of end effects that you want from this spell, but alternatively, this could do a limited version of what you want from those higher level spells a little bit cheaper. And for that reason, I'm still giving it a 3. It's a good spell.
Yeah, it's great. It's a great little effect. I like this kind of spell also, again, for some reason feels magical to me, just because, like, we talked about it when we talked about Giant Insect. You have to do a little bit of work for this to work, in that you have to navigate the illusory appearance, and I think that makes it just feel so much more magical to me than a lot of like evocation stuff tends to feel.
It's this is something you bring up time and again, but it's a hindrance that makes the game fun. It's good for the game.
Agreed.
All right. Well, that was Disguise Self. Let us know what you think down in the comments below, and like and subscribe, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye. Thank you for watching. If you found this helpful, informative, or entertaining, I'd really appreciate it if you hit the like button below. You needn't smash it. A gentle tap will suffice. If you want to see more videos like this, subscribe to the channel. And make sure you check out the links in the description, where you'll find my Caverns Creatures series of comedy fantasy novels, Sam's full review of the spell, and other fun things.